$100 or something, even if they had outside personnel come in with loaders or whatever they did. Because there's some of the outside contracts that certainly would come in and help out on this thing. I don't know what the cost would
How
be.
many hydrants do we have?
I think it's 440 or something.
Oh, I can give you a number.
There's about I took a number and I divided it all out, and it looked to me with, if you had 4 crews, with 2 guys in each crew, it was gonna take 3 days to clear them all.
Really?
And,
That long?
oh yeah, there's a lot of hydrants.
There is a lot of hydrants.
But that's like 30 hydrants a day or something. with the
I mean,
crews.
some people do clear their hydrant.
Oh yeah, a lot of hydrants, they won't even have to touch
I mean,
it, because they'll be
it's-
cleared when they get there.
Right.
Foolish if you don't.
I used to always clear it with the one in front of my house, but,
Yeah, I clear mine.
and hopefully like you say, the residents in the community will also assist them.
And then it doesn't have to be cleared every storm either. I mean, if you get a small storm, yeah.
The
fact-
biggest thing is.
Bob, maybe you could put
You're right.
something in
The
there.
biggest thing is not necessarily clear,
Something for
but
residents
having
to
it
help
clear
out
to
or
the
something.
point that it's visible.
Right.
That's the big.
Oh, yeah. No, it
Even
should
if you
be
can just
clear.
see it, so you don't.
Sure,
That's,
clear.
that's
I
more of a
agree.
problem than anything else, is
Right.
if you can see that we have equipment on the truck that we can clear it.
Right.
But if you can't see it, then that's sometimes where you.
Right.
But, again, and as if it's cleared and it saves 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes they're
Oh, yeah,
there,
there's no
they can
question about it.
determine
But I'm
what's
saying, if you
happening,
can
yeah.
see it, generally, if you can see it,
It's
it
way ahead
doesn't
of the
take,
game.
it doesn't take long to clear it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you can even work through the snow when
Right.
you can see it. It's when you can't see it that it's really a big problem, because you miss one hydrant and you're talking,
About 500
another,
feet.
well, it could be another 1,000, because depending on which way you have to go to get to the hydrant, to come back to wherever the fire is,
Yeah.
Mr. Smith, anything else? That was a good idea.
Crosswalks are done. Let's see,
Took a light meeting for the long list.
No, we pretty well covered everything I had.
Really?
So I'm all set, I guess it's up to you now.
Up to me now.
Finish the night off.
What's that?
No, I just said we're going to.
I think we're gonna have a brief executive session too, right?
Like to bargain.
Just a couple of things. And one is just in relation to the crosswalks and those markers that we have, down the center of town. And I saw them out in, that were utilized down by the funeral home yesterday too, because they had a big event down there with one of the victims from Whitefield was being waked down on Route 28. I've had some requests from residents for certain areas to have a few more placed around town, because they do tend to slow down traffic where people are crossing. And I think we should consider doing that in certain areas, additional areas, and expanding that program with those markers. I know a toll has been taken as far as them getting hit a few times, but still, I think it's done a pretty good job down in the center of town of slowing the traffic down, and in other areas when they've been placed there. So.
They seem to be lasting a little longer too. They used to pick them off the first few days. They would
People
put up.
get used to it. People
So
get
they
used to it.
something must have slowed down.
People are
They
getting
don't
used
pick
to
them
it,
off as often.
but, I don't know what our intentions are as far as purchasing more of them, and I know I have some suggestions as to where they might be placed too, as far as some of the residents have requested them, and they were good suggestions. But I'm sure other members of the board have also heard. Yes?
Are your suggestions within current crosswalks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the current crosswalks. There's some crosswalks in some tough places, like at Havel Street in Mount Vernon, right over the Blind Hill, places like that. But I think they've proven their worth as far as heightening visibility and slowing people down a little bit. So I think we should expand that program a little bit. I don't know. I think the cost is probably.
You've got to have a street wide enough that you can use them too. You can't, some of these streets.
Oh, right, yes, so they
crosswalk,
make
you
pass.
can't.
But, so I don't know what Mr. Hanlon has planned for the next budgetary season, or what's in this year's budget for some additional markers, but I think that, particularly when it comes springtime, and more people are out crossing, it's a good thing. The other thing is that,
My assumption is we probably could afford them, hopefully within our budget now, so I mean, if the board has any suggestions.
I don't know what the feeling the other
No, I
what
agree.
feelings
I
are.
think the things have really worked. They definitely have slowed traffic down. I mean, you have to slow down because.
You're looking at me.
Joe, I just wonder whether you like those things.
Well, I have to stand on what I've always said, that It's a liability issue for the town to put them out there. So I do not recommend putting them on a public way, because the state does not authorize it. But that's,
Right.
that's the stance I have to take, because that's the law and that's the truth. But if the rest of the board wants to put them out,
We appreciate
so be
your
it.
input.
Yeah, and I cannot support them. They do work, but I cannot support them because the state law does not allow you to put them out there.
So we should have a state rep file legislation
Change
to
the
allow.
And it won't work, but you could have them filed.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, because we found something that does work and a lot doesn't.
I will agree, they do slow them down, but I can't support it because I know they're not supposed to be out there. But I have no problem with it.
Mr. Pig, did you wish to comment?
Well, as a matter of fact, as far as the crosswalks, I think it started a while back when we were looking at different signs, and the DPW reacted, got the new fluorescent signs for crosswalks, and I think they've taken it a step further by putting these crosswalk signs in the middle of the road. I do believe it slows people down, makes them aware that there's a crosswalk there at, 50 miles an hour, so they do slow down. But, yeah, I'm all for looking into those.
You thought it was a good idea?
Yeah, it's fine. Just who's gonna be responsible for putting them out,
I would have,
Yeah, DPW usually handles it.
Well, what I'll do is I'm meeting with the chief tomorrow, and I'll ask the chief if he has any suggestions for expansion of critical crosswalks, and run it past Dave and then bring it back up to speed.
That's good. The only other thing again is, you all received in your packet a timetable for the special town meeting. Just to make sure everybody's aware, at our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is the 16th, we're going to have to close and sign the warrant. As of right now, there's 7 articles proposed, which covers a whole host of scenarios, which would give us a menu approach as to what we can pick and choose. And again, it would pretty much cover everything we're talking about. There may be, I don't know if there's any modifications yet in relation to schematic design plans for a bachelor school addition and renovation, which we may want to include, if that's what we're talking about. We're going to be at the time. We haven't got the information back from the architects yet, Todd Lee, but that may be what they come up with, rather than a full construction thing. So if we want to reserve a space for that, we should reserve that now, and I don't know if there was anything else that the board members were thinking about. If so, we should reserve the space probably now for it, and then forever hold that piece, and then we can pass over articles at the special town meeting, but at least we'll have articles available for us to take whatever action we deem is appropriate at the time.
We'll get copies of those, hopefully, this weekend coming.
Yeah,
Rather
actually, you
than-
already have a copy from previous. Nothing's changed since early December.
You don't know my filing system.
You don't know your filing system. I'm
No,
sure the
we'll send out-
administrator
we'll
will
send
get you
out-
another copy.
I guess
Thank
the only thing I'd be concerned with is the order of the scheduling of the articles. When do we schedule the order of the articles? In other words, what order they're going to be in as they, for the printing of the warrant.
Well,
When
my
do we
guess
do
is we
that?
should take care of that
The
this
next
evening
meeting.
if you're going to do it. Oh, next meeting's
Oh.
going to be ready for signature. This is why I bring it up, as far as that issue in relation to memory, but also which issues are we going to have on the warrant for consideration. And again, to me, I've always been of the frame of mind that we should avail ourselves the widest latitude to address whatever concerns we may have. We can always pass them over.
Would it make more sense to have a meeting next Monday night?
Not for that. I'd rather talk about it tonight myself.
Yeah,
Well,
but
again, I don't know, were there
what
any
he's
other-
talking
but
about
were there
is
any other
the
issues?
possibility there could be other articles,
Were there any other issue? Well, the only thing I could think of, as far as addressing what we're talking about here, is schematic design plans for the renovation in addition to the bachelor of the school, because what we're talking about is construction, rather than a schematic design. And the other, we could do the same thing for the police station
Right.
Building.
addition, because what we have currently available to us is the construction of an addition and renovation to the existing public safety facility. So if we
so that
those are the only
meeting
two
is-
things I can think of, unless there's something else that everybody,
Probably
that someone
the
thinks is so pressing that it needs to be addressed. And again, the school committee.
Can we leave open articles in there?
No, they have to be specific.
They have
They have to be
yeah,
They have to be specific for a purpose.
Special, yeah.
They may
Specific
not-
for purpose.
If it's a specific purpose, you don't, may not need the cash amount in there.
No, you don't need a cash amount.
But it's a specific purpose. I mean,
So we could list it for specifics first, so you could actually list
So the only articles
whatever the
that,
possibilities are, we can just scratch them out.
that we can,
I'll pass them over.
Pass them over. Mr. Rowe?
the only articles that we can, the next meeting we have, the only articles that we can approve are the articles that we have right now.
Well, the only ones
No, no, no,
that, the only ones that we
no, no.
put forth so far for consideration are those 7.
We could put anything
That's what we
we want.
have, but we can put forth, but the thing is, the
But we
timing
can't-
issue is we need to do it tonight or between now and next meeting for consideration to have it included in the warrant.
But what
and
I'm
I
saying
guess
is, we
we're met-
can't number them at the next meeting?
No.
Not the next scheduled meeting.
Either gonna number them tonight, or you have to have a meeting somewhere.
Mr. Younger.
okay, my assumption, I'm just throwing this out here for consideration, is there are six, I think 6 articles.
6 or 7.
6, 7, right. Assuming 1 and 2, this is just making an assumption, we're going to be the school-related articles, depending upon which way they get flip-flopped, as far as which goes first.
Right, you've got the Swan Pond and the back to school addition renovation
Right.
article, then you have the schematic designs for the middle and high school.
Right.
And then you've got the new police station, and then you've got a renovated
Right.
police station. And then you've got the modular classroom.
The study for the mods, right.
That's
So-
6.
And also, there was another one which maybe passed over, would have been if you had gone, if you approved the schematic designs for the bachelor school, you wouldn't be approving schematic designs to move the administrative offices. The town hall, administrative offices, the school administrative offices, the batch, at that point.
Right, but
That
I
was
think
like-
whoever was at the table at the time was
Right.
understanding that if we move forward with the renovation and addition project,
Right.
obviously, school administration needs a new home and would have to be factored into the schematic designs for either the middle school renovation or somewhere else.
Right.
So, I mean, that, I believe that's clearly understood.
Well, yeah,
They
and
need
you
a
can
home.
always amend the appropriation at town meeting, if you had to for one reason or other. I mean, down, but not up. In other words, there's a number in there for 500,000 or something for schematics for the middle school and the high school and the bachelor school. So that number could
No,
always
the
be.
bachelor school is going to be a separate.
I thought it was
article,
included in the
high school and middle
schematics.
school.
No, no,
I
not.
say let's have a meeting next Monday.
But this is why I bring it up.
I think we should have a meeting next Monday too.
If we have the meeting, would it be
Can
strictly
I ask
for?
what the meeting's for?
Yeah,
Right.
to go over these
Go over
articles.
these articles,
I think we're a little confused.
find
at
out what
this
we're
point.
gonna put in.
Mr. Chair, are we confused or are we concerned in what article they're gonna go in and for what reason are we concerned?
It might be a little bit of everything, John.
Yeah, I know it, but I mean, I just don't wanna, I'm just trying to get to what the problem is here with how they're numbered. I don't see what the problem is. I
It's
mean,
not necessarily the number they're in, it's how many articles we need or what we need them for. And what we might want to include over and above what we're already talking about.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of any other issues.
I can't think of any, but.
You know, any other issues.
I'll meet next Monday, but I don't see a need for it. I'll meet.
You know, as far as
Just-
the order of them, I mean,
I just-
everybody's gonna be aware as to what the issues are. I don't think anybody's gonna come to town meeting without having their mind made up on one or the
Exactly.
other.
Well, the only thing is, I will say, I've seen a town meeting where we have, and I know one of the places that happened was a few years ago when they took some land up Swan Pond and they were gonna put a treatment plant in up there.
Resident.
No, they were gonna put a reservoir and a treatment plant. Okay, and they were going to vote for the money for the treatment plant before they voted to even have a reservoir. And I questioned it, and Mr. Kubacheski brought out clearly that if you voted for that money for the treatment plant and passed, you would raise it, whether or not you put a reservoir in. So it does make sense to
that's
make,
You
not
don't
true.
have to spend it.
That's not true.
you don't have to spend it, but if you vote to raise and appropriate that money by taxation, you will raise and appropriate, whether or not you build it. Once you vote to do it, it's, you vote to raise and appropriate, you gotta-
No, on something like that magnitude, that would be a bonding issue, so you would have authorized the bonding, but if you never bond, you
Well,
don't
the
spend
point
it out.
was that the moderator said, and it was defeated because of the fact that he said, if you vote to raise and appropriate this money, And maybe it was just for the plans, but whatever it is, but if you vote to raise a